What is that? Do you guys see that?
Hi everyone, my name is Anthony Escobedo, the Chief Naturalist at Dunes Learning Center, a residential environmental learning center located inside the Indiana Dunes National Park. After finding an old article, we've embarked on an adventure together to track what I believe is our local Bigfoot, whom I call Sandsquatch. This is the Search for Sandquatch. Here's the evidence we've gathered so far.
After finding an old article, we talked to Professor Audrey, an expert in cryptozoology who gave us a map. Using a compass and the map, we were able to find the old field station of his team. There we met with Mrs. Lupin, a local homeowner who told us that strange noises come from beyond the creek bed. After we investigated along the creek bed, we found what appears to be the track of Sandsquatch. We were following the tracks until we found some scat and confirmed that the scat we found must be from Sandsquatch. From there we found a pile of bones and gathered that the skull we found must be from a deer. That night we decided to go for a night hike to listen for sounds when we discovered some fur. Unsure of exactly what the fur was, we went back the next morning to find this.
Look, there's like a structure or something ahead. Let's check it out. Seems like something used some logs and some branches and they built a little shelter up against this oak tree. Let's get a closer look. Wow. Yeah, something's definitely built a shelter. They've used these branches to make the walls of it. Seems like they have some bark here to make the shingles, and they kind of put some leaves in between it. But something's definitely living underneath this oak tree. There's quite a few big oak trees here. All right, let's get out our journal and take a few notes. So the shelter is using these branches as a wall. They're bracing it up against this giant tree. They're using the bark and leaves as shingles for the shelter. They also seem to have like a platform of wood here, maybe to help keep them off the ground. And it seems like it could fit maybe one person or maybe two if they were small. So I'm not really sure what animals that live in the forest would make this kind of shelter. I have a feeling that this must be our Sandsquatch. But before I can make that conclusion, I have a colleague who's really good about animals and their habitat. So we're going to give them a call and see if they can help us figure out any more information. So before we call our colleague, I have a few W questions that I want to ask about animals' homes. First question is, what are animal homes? My second question is, why do animals need homes? My third question is, do homes differ between animals? And my fourth question is, what animals build their homes, specifically ones like this? And hopefully by gathering that information, we'll have a better understanding about animals and their homes, and then what animal built this home.
Hi, Anthony.
Hey, I'm exploring around the Indiana Dunes, and I found something that I'm not really familiar with. I was hoping maybe you can help me.
Sure.
So, I think what I found is a home of an animal. Can you maybe tell me more about animals' homes?
Yeah, well, we refer to an animal's home as habitat. However, not just animals use habitat. Habitat is the environment of an animal, plant, or really any other organism.
Okay, but why do animals need habitat?
Animals and plants need three essential things in order to survive. They need food, water, and shelter. Their habitat tends to provide these essential things, but also provides things like space and protection from things like predators.
So then is the habitat different for different animals?
Yeah, the homes of animals vary depending on the type of animal. You wouldn't expect a fish to live in the trees for very long, would you?
No.
Generally speaking, habitat changes over time. Some animals change their habitat, like humans and beavers, while others adapt to the change, like coyotes living in cities.
So what animals might build their own homes then?
Lots of animals build homes, including humans. Some take advantage of natural features for homes. Think a bird building a bird nest, or even a squirrel building a dray, which is a nest made of leaves, twigs, and grasses at the tops of trees.
Not squirrels again.
Huh?
Oh, nothing. I gotta go. Thanks, Lily. Bye.
Bye!
Alright folks, so we just gathered a lot of useful information talking with Lily. We learned that animals need three things in their habitat. They need food, they need water, and they need shelter. And judging on where we were exploring earlier along the creek bed, there's definitely a water source here for them. And then based on the scat that we found and the evidence that we're finding around our site, there's plenty of acorns and nuts here for them to eat. So there's a food source here. And then lastly, there's the shelter built here. So there's definitely a shelter. Now Lily told us that animals can build their shelters, like a squirrel will build a dray in the tops of trees. So this one is at the bottom of a tree. So I don't think that it's a squirrel. It could be man-made, which is consistent with the evidence of the tracks that we found earlier. I think whatever this is, this must be our Sandsquatch shelter. And we're getting close. We're zeroing in on the location of it. We found where it's active. I think it's time that we set a trap and we catch Sandsquatch.